In the previous video, I've shared a few insights what we can learn from Volodos' incredible natural technique. In this video, I want to explore why he's such a great musician and why his decision to step away from the bombastic virtuoso repertoire that made him actually famous in the first place was actually a gift to us all. What's also intriguing is how little we see of him on social media compared to other top pianists. Unlike many star pianists, Volodos doesn't seem interested in rankings or fame. He has resisted commercializing his personal brand and often avoids the flashy music that made him famous. Instead, he plays what brings him genuine joy, even if it's less marketable. Heinrich Neuhaus observed that young, highly talented pianists often exaggerate dynamics and tempo in their playing and prefer a flashy repertoire while being young. And he even claimed that pianists like Horowitz or Richter could play so loudly and so intensively that listening to them in a small room felt like torture. According to Neuhaus, this tendency is a natural stage of development for those with an innate gift for the piano. But it must remain just that, a phase. Over time, a true artist should move towards a more profound and refined style. And I felt this shift myself. When I was 16 to 20 years old, I was drawn to pieces like Prokofiev's Toccata, Brahms' Paganini variations, and every flashy transcription I could find. But now my interest in that kind of repertoire is fading. I can feel it. In this sense, Volodos isn't really an exception. He's just a more extreme example of this transformation that happens to most concert pianists. So let me give you a few examples of Volodos' extraordinary musicianship, and this is something that we can actually apply to our own practice and learn from him a little bit. But before we jump in, I have something really exciting to share with you. After my last video on Volodos, someone from his inner circle reached out to me and we had a great conversation. And one thing that I am allowed to share with you guys is about how Arkady Volodos prepares for performances. And it's pretty unique, that's why I would really love to share this with you. Because most pianists want a proper rehearsal at the venue and at least some practice on the day of the performance, playing through the program for tonight, even if just to feel secure. Grigory Sokolov, for example, is notoriously famous for playing his pieces the last minute before stepping on stage. But Volodos is complete opposite. He avoids touching pieces before a concert in order to play them with a fresh attitude at a show. That's why you'll find videos of him improvising or playing unrelated music before a concert. Even more astonishing, he often skips trying out the piano entirely. His ability to instantly adapt to an instrument and acoustics is just that good. He's comfortable arriving 20 minutes before a performance, which is barely enough to just change clothes and maybe have a cup of coffee, and going straight on stage without any warming up that day. The two things that he does care about and he definitely wants to check before a performance is the hall's lighting and a comfortable chair, because as you might see, he prefers to sit on a regular chair with a back over a piano bench. A good musician must be an architect of music, able to feel the wholeness of a piece, understand its structure and shape it properly toward the climax to create a deep and satisfying emotional experience. Watch how brilliantly Volodos built this iconic cadenza, leading to this painful chord. He uses both musical phrasing and body language strategically to highlight its importance, making the moment truly powerful. So there are two types of the audience. The first type wants performers to move a lot and to reveal all the emotions on their face and in their body language, because probably they don't really understand what is this music about if they just listen to it. They want some visual representation of these emotions. And there's another type of the audience who wants the performers to be just playing Money Queens without movement, without any facial reactions, because it distracts those audience members. So if you are a performer and you are a little bit puzzled whether you have to use any body language or just sit straight and play in a very classy way without any facial reactions, I can reassure you that whatever you pick, you will always have fans and haters. So just do whatever feels natural for you. But what I really like about Volodos is that his body language seems very genuine, and he knows how to use it in order to make the most significant spots to sound especially unique. One of the biggest causes of inefficiency is the urge to physically connect every note. This creates unnecessary stretching and tension. Arkady Volodos is a perfect reminder that true legato and singing touch have nothing to do with physical connection. You can connect everything physically and still sound stiff and unexpressive. Or, like Volodos, you can focus on phrasing and arm weight, creating a beautifully flowing legato that is felt and heard rather than forced. Now, here comes a $1 million secret. Many musicians follow the cliché that when a phrase goes up, we do a crescendo, and when it goes down, we do a diminuendo. This is indeed a very good introductory point to expressiveness and phrasing, but this is only, let's say, the basic level. So notice how Volodos does the exact opposite, and it sounds incredible. And this is a signature feature of Rachmaninoff's style, which unfortunately is overseen by most musicians, and only people of this caliber, like Volodos, know this or feel this intuitively. Expression in Rachmaninoff's works or other late Romantic works often starts from the highest point, whether that's the top note of the phrase or even a low note melodically. And you might wonder why, and to be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but my assumption is that this is directly connected to singing, because if you sing, you would take a lot of air first, and then you would start singing with a lot of air, so the beginning of your phrase would be stronger. And this is basically the way you would sing in a shower where nobody judges you. So the beginning of the phrase will be naturally stronger. So most musicians would play this part like this. Start softer and make kind of like crescendo following the phrase. It sounds kind of expressively, and this sounds very natural to us because we got used to this type of cliché standard phrasing. But musicians of Volodos's level, they feel that this music is structured a little bit differently, and that it breathes differently if you play it this way. Which sounds more declamative, which sounds more singing, which sounds more authentic to this style. And this is exactly how Rachmaninoff himself played. So for many musicians, this feels strange because it seems to contradict the score, and I get asked about it a lot. Not many people realize, through more or learning, thanks to Samuel Bernstein's video, that these hairpins don't actually mean crescendo and diminuendo. Instead, they simply indicate that this spot should be more expressive than the surrounding music. How you achieve this expressiveness is up to you. I have to say, I miss this concerto so much. Among all 30 concerti which I've played in my life with an orchestra, I miss this one particularly. It would be really great to perform it again sometime. And Rachmaninoff himself was famous for playing at this border of good taste, so he never played with a bad taste. But you always can feel that a little bit more and it would be kind of already out of taste. So he was really great in playing in a very daring way, but never trespassing this line of a good taste. I absolutely love this album because it shatters all expectations. You wouldn't normally expect such careful, refined musicianship from someone who first gained fame by destroying pianos with superhuman technique. And yet here we experience such delicacy, such depth that at times it feels like this isn't a human playing at all. It's like if the music simply emerged from a, quantum field, pure, weightless, divine. One of the rarest qualities in this album is the presence of sacred silence. Every sound seems to rise from silence before sinking back into it. This is an incredibly rare ability, and I almost never hear piano recordings of this level. I could go on for hours about the details I find mesmerizing, but let me highlight just a couple of them. And feel free to share your thoughts about Volodos' playing in the comments. Music students usually go through 3 stages of development when dealing with long notes and pauses. The first stage is cutting them short out of fear of being boring. Long notes and silences feel awkward because nothing is happening there. So various thoughts creep in like, what if they get bored? What if they hate me for dragging this out? Oh god, I hope this pause is over soon so I can distract myself and the audience with fast, brilliant passages. The second phase is rigidly counting every note and pause, as trained by a strict teacher. This sounds more professional, of course, but still formal and mechanical. So you can feel that a performer is executing the piece rather than breathing with it. So they follow the score diligently, but they don't own this music yet. The rarest stage is understanding silence as a living, breathing element of music. This is a stage where a musician feels the intensity of each moment, realizing that the silence is as important component to music than sound itself. And when a performer trades an ability to listen to a lasting note, because most people listen how they hit the notes, but they don't listen to the whole duration of the note. And this is where the magic happens. So everything in music emerges from silence and vanishes in it. Here, Volodos gives us a masterclass in timing. His ritardando isn't calculated or forced. It unfolds naturally. He doesn't start the next section when the metronome says so, but when the music itself is ready to continue. This is an exceptional example of voicing. The golden rule of polyphony states that neighboring voices should be about 2 dynamic levels apart. So when, for example, you play 2 voices that are written closely to each other, like for example on this spot, you might want to play one of them mezzo forte and another one piano. One of them forte and another one mezzo piano, or one of them piano and another one 3 or even 4 piano, in order to make the difference in color very evident. So for example, you could feel that the upper voice is clear and played mezzo forte and the lower voice is much softer. 2 or even 3 nuances below. Or we could do it oppositely by prioritizing a lower voice. Anyway, this difference should be clear at all times, so then we have clarity of perception. We can hear polyphony. But Volodos takes it to another level. Instead of just balancing dynamics, he achieves something even more magical. He plays the melody at a clear, gentle piano, while the accompaniment is an almost ghostly, muffled pianissimo. He doesn't just create a contrast in volume, he creates a contrast in timbre. It sounds as if the melody would be a single tear rolling down your face, while the accompaniment is a fog surrounding you, numbing your thoughts. It actually sounds like he's playing on two different pianos, one with the una corda, soft pedal, and the other without. I have goosebumps listening to this, and I absolutely love these late Brahms pieces, and I've heard many different interpretations, but I have to say this is my absolute favorite. So thank you for watching this. I'm looking forward for your thoughts in the comments, and please check out my comprehensive courses on piano playing, efficiency, and pieces of all levels by following the link in the description.